I directed my attention to this matchup between the Celtics and the Hornets before the game even starts. And what shows up here isn't a perfectly balanced game at its core, but it's also not as simple as most people think. Because when I look at the Celtics, the first thing that comes through is structure. This is not a team that enters trying to figure things out. They already know exactly how they want to play. There's organization, there's a clear system, there's repetition in their behavior, and that creates a very solid foundation. But when I go a little deeper, when I don't stay on that first layer, something else starts to appear. The Celtics come in strong, prepared, but there's also an energy of control. And when a team comes in with that mindset, they're not playing to surprise, they're playing to confirm. And that can be positive, but it can also limit the game depending on how the opponent reacts. Now, when I shift my attention to the Hornets, the difference is immediate. There isn't the same stability, there isn't the same confidence, but there also isn't rigidity. And that creates a completely different type of game. The Hornets don't carry the same pressure. They come in with more freedom, even being the less structured team. And many times, that kind of team is the one that creates unexpected situations because they don't follow a fixed pattern. They fluctuate. And that fluctuation can generate both mistakes and opportunities. Now, when I place these two movements side by side, it becomes very clear what kind of game tends to happen. On one side, a team trying to control the pace from the start. On the other, a team that may not impose itself, but can interfere with that control in key moments. And this is where the reading becomes interesting, because it's not just about who is better, it's about how these two styles collide. The Celtics are likely to start the game in control. That's the most natural path. They have more organization, more awareness, more ability to dictate rhythm. But at the same time, that early control may not translate into a comfortable game all the way through, because the Hornets don't come in with an energy of surrender. They come in with an energy of attempt, and constant attempts, even if imperfect, can break structure. Now, there's a key detail that changes everything. When I observe the Celtics deeper, not just as a team, but in their behavior in games like this, there's a tendency to do just enough. This is not a team that always comes in to dominate from start to finish. They come in to win. And there's a difference. When a team plays to dominate, they keep intensity the entire game. When they play to win, they manage it. And that management can create openings, because at the same time they control, they also reduce pace in certain moments. And when that happens, the game stops being fully controlled and space appears. Now, the Hornets are not a team that takes advantage of everything. They miss opportunities, they lose organization, they fluctuate under pressure. That works against them. But at the same time, when they catch a rhythm, they grow fast inside the game. And that's exactly the kind of movement that can show up here, not as dominance, but as disruption. And disruption alone is enough to change the direction of a controlled game. Now, when I go even deeper into this, a clear split appears. There's a linear path and there's an unstable one. The linear path is the expected one. Celtics come in, control the game, build a lead, and manage it until the end. That's the logical script. But there's another path, less obvious, but present. A game where the Celtics start strong, but can't maintain that same level the entire time. And in that moment, the Hornets find space, not necessarily to take over, but to close the gap. And when a team closes the gap, the entire energy of the game shifts, because control is no longer comfortable. It becomes pressured. Now, what defines which path will unfold is not just talent difference, it's consistency. If the Celtics stay consistent, the game resolves without major problems. But if intensity drops, even briefly, the game can change shape, and the Hornets can grow exactly in that window. Now, one thing needs to be clear. The Celtics are still the more structured team. That doesn't change. They have more resources, more organization, more ability to adjust during the game, and that naturally makes them the favorite. But favorite does not mean full control for the entire game. It means they have more tools to win. And that's different, because a game can be won, even with moments of instability. And that's what shows up here. I don't see a fully comfortable game from start to finish. I see a game with control in some moments, and tension in others. And that's the kind of game that holds attention, because it's not predictable all the way through. Now, when I bring all of this together, Structure, behavior, tendencies. What comes out stronger? Is the Celtics finding a way to secure the result. But not in a completely smooth way. There is a margin here, a window, where the Hornets can interfere, especially if the Celtics enter a more controlled pace instead of an aggressive one, and that detail changes everything, because a game that is too controlled can become a game that opens up, and an open game always favors the underdog. So what I see here is not just a clear favorite, it's a game with two forces happening at the same time, one trying to maintain, the other trying to break. And when those two forces collide, the game is never completely predictable. Now tell me, do you think the Celtics will control this game from start to finish? Or can the Hornets step in at some point and make it complicated? Drop it in the comments, because games like this don't flip out of nowhere. They give signs first. And if you can read those signs early, you understand the game before it happens. If you like this kind of pre-game breakdown, leave a like, because that helps us reach more people. And tell me what game you want next, because there's always more happening beneath the surface than most people see.